you members of the board. My name is Bob Hernandez and I represent Catharsis. As you may recall, Catharsis was before this board approximately 6-7 months ago, in which this board approved a hotel they plan on building on Arlington Street. They went through all the proper process. They went through the zoning, they went through the planning. I think we had annual meetings. But at that time, they had an idea what they were going to do. Since that time, they're proposing some changes that we consider minor modifications. None of them are structural. As you can see here, the one on the left that you see there is the one that they have proposed in the past that was approved. The one on the right is the one that they're asking this board to consider now. There isn't any structural change. What has changed is you see the top of the building, that is changing the windows. They're not adding any more rooms, no more parking. The only issue with the back of the lot is they've actually added more green space. Instead of cobblestones, instead of the stoppers for the cars, they're gonna have green islands. So it's an addition, it's a positive addition. As far as the structural, again, nothing's changed. You can see the entrance was this, opposed to this. The windows have changed, and what they consider is a change to the better. A much more modern look, and they consider it a much more friendlier look. Now I'm going to go to the elephant in the room, change of name. There was a change of name. When they came before you before, they indicated it might be another brand. During the course of their meeting with other brands, they come up with a dual brand. And what the dual brand is, Holiday Inn Express and Staybridge. And they consider it one of the first hotels in the area is going to be dual branded. I know there's some conflict with that. I know there's some concern with that. But I can assure this board that it's not going to bring the character of the hotel down. It's not going to bring the clientele down. All it is a name brand change. That's all it is. The hotel will still be the same. The prices are still going to be the same. The attraction is still going to be the same. But again, there is a name brand. We're asking the board to consider the cosmetic changes as a minor modification. But I'm here to answer any questions that you may have with regards to either the changes, cosmetic changes, or the name brand change.
Any questions? Okay. Mr. Atkins, how are you?
How are you?
I can't remember how many times the applicant came before the board, but I know that every time I said, what flag is going to be flown, and it was Hilton or Marriott. Which for me, I was able to think about the project through the prism of having stayed in those two chains. And so I'm not quite on board that this is a minor modification because I have not stayed at a Holiday Inn and I've never even heard of a Staybridge. So could you please explain a little bit more how we ended up at these chains, what price point they are compared to where we used to be?
Okay. The price point is not going to change. The price point is the same because they're attracting the same business people. This is not a hotel that they plan on having families coming in. This is a hotel for business transactions, a hotel for which business people are going to come and stay. You're not going to see it busy on weekends. You're going to see it busy Monday through Friday. Why? Because that's when the business person travels. As far as the minor modification concern is, we're saying that the cosmetic change is minor modification, and that's what we're coming before the board for. The name change, they came to that result because at one point there was a merger of companies not related to them that then kind of cut down their deal, their availability of having the Marriott and stuff. So they went to get the best flagship they could. Now, one of the concerns you have here is that one on the right, the Holiday Inn Express. Okay, and you have the concerns, rightfully so, because of what's happening in other towns, what's happening in Dorchester, what's happening in Braintree, and I don't blame you for that. But those are, in essence, hourly hotels. The average stay in these hotels are going to be 5 days. Why? Because that's where the business traveler stays. The price point, of whether it was the Hyatt, the Marriott, or the Hilton, is not going to be any different than what they're going to show here. They're going to have the same price points. It's going to be cost the same. And I will say, one of the who was very upset about this, and I'll be honest with you, not only the councilor, but I know the mayor's office was very upset with this. And it first got brought to my attention right away. I said I'm meeting with the mayor and the Catharsis to explain what happened. And I can tell this board, and I've been in front of this board many times, that the meeting started is exactly like Councilor Kane said, and I think Ms. Batchy will agree, that everybody felt it was a bait and switch. After they met with the mayor, and after they explained the process, how we got there, and after the mayor saw what the insides are gonna look like, no different than was proposed, after the mayor saw how the outside's gonna look like, I can tell this board, the mayor was much more comfortable with the people he met that have been running it, that have a history of running good hotels. And the mayor felt much more comfortable that it may not have been a bait and switch as much as, due to other circumstances, not involving Cathartis, but involving the economy out there, these two came to the forefront. Now, if you look at Staybridge is not local, but Staybridge is, you see them in Florida, you see them in Western United States, and they're slowly coming into Massachusetts. But this will be one of the first dual flag hotels that exist. I will tell you, they're more than happy to accommodate the board to let them see what they run. They've been 5-star. The company that runs it has been 5-star everywhere they run. This is not, and I don't mean to minimize or say anything negative about the town. This is not the Braintree Hotel, and this is not the Dorchester Hotel. This is an upscale hotel, and they tend to keep it that way. In their history and their reputation is known as running upscale hotels.
Question,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
No.
So, as far as the, how is the management structure going to work? Is it like a local franchise owner, or is it who's going to be the manager of record? Is it going to be Holiday Inn or Staybridge or?
It's actually going to be a third party that's going to run them both, and that's from Jim Goldenberg and Cathartis.
Okay.
They are taking both flags in, and they're going to be running both. There will be one entrance. There will not be two. There's the actual entrance is no different than you've seen. I think there was proposed before. It's actually a beautiful entrance. And again, it's not going to be run. They don't do that. It's one, and one is set for different types of businesses. But I will tell you that it's just one person, one company running it. And their reputation, again, they met with the mayor. The mayor went through the process of questions as to what happened, why it happened, and who they were. And I will tell this board, I think the planning director will also agree that the mayor was satisfied as to who they were. The appearance is what you infer, or I'm sorry, imply, there might have been a bait and switch. I understand that the council is very upset about it, but all I can tell you is that for the purpose they're here now, they're here for the minor modification of the cosmetic of the building, but they've also gone through and are willing to go through anything they have to go through to show you, as they did to the mayor, that this is an upscale hotel and not the one Motel 6 or not the one that's run in Dorchester. It's not run by those same people.
Member Barrett.
When we approved the original plan, speaking for me personally, the location of the signage on the top was tied very much to the flag that was flying on the brand. I was able to get comfortable that something that visible from Newport or from coming up Hancock, I got comfortable with that based on the representations that were made to me about what the hotel chain was going to be. I personally am not as comfortable with these two new brands having such a prominent place on the facade. And so is there any wiggle room in how prominently displayed the names are versus where we are now? By way of example, perhaps move them down and have them over the entrance. How critical is it for them to be that prominently displayed?
They have not indicated that would be reported on, so I couldn't answer that question. I'm more than happy to take any questions you have and come back next month and answer all the questions you may have. Again, these are people that want to demonstrate to this board that the quality and the caliber hotel is not going down. The caliber and quality are going to maintain the same, but they have to make some changes.
Just a comment, I agree with Member Barry about the signage. It's clunky looking to me. I don't know, if there's something that can be changed, but I agree that it's a little bit, different aesthetic than I think what we were expecting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Member Barrett.
Mr. Chairman.
Any other members' comments? The willingness on the part of the applicant to talk to the client and come back to us at our November meeting?
Absolutely.
I think that makes an awful lot of sense. Okay.
Thank you. If there's any other questions also, any other questions you may have, I'll work with the planning director and I'll get them answered for you.
Okay.
And if you want, we can actually have the people here that run it, I have no problem. I didn't know the extent of what this hearing was gonna be, but I'm more than happy to have me again. They went through the process with the mayor. I can tell you they're more than happy to go through the process with the board.
Okay. I just have an email that was sent to the planning department. I'm unable to join the meeting tonight, so I'm writing in connection to this project and the letter that I've submitted below in May. While I'm generally supportive of this project, especially given the fact that this property has remained vacant for years, I'm currently dismayed by some recent and unforeseen circumstances around the project. It was recently brought to my attention that this hotel, which was originally presented to the city and that I represented to my constituents as a Marriott or Hilton brand hotel, will now be operating under an Intercontinental Hotel Group brand, more specifically a Holiday Inn Express. This was a last-minute surprise following the approval of the project by the very board, which has given me the impression of a bait-and-switch situation. For the 2 years I have been aware of this project, the brand of the hotel was purported to be that of a Marriott or a Hilton, but now something else. Work Inc. and Kevin Coughlin before me built considerable goodwill with Ward 3 and the surrounding neighborhood to make sure that this project went as smoothly as possible, and I do not view this act as one of the good neighbors. While I understand that this project is a fait accompli, I just hope that this is not a bad omen for the future of what was once a smooth and positive process until now. I kindly ask that you encourage the developers to stick to their promise of being a good neighbor and partner in Ward 3. I can only wish for the success of their project, for that in turn will benefit our great city. Thank you for your opportunity to comment. Best regards, Ian Kane, Ward 3 Council. The letter that he also includes is an email that he sent back in May, which was, at the time, he had toured the site with Jim Casada, who was with Work Inc., and Jim Goldenberg, and that he had seen some of the other projects that Marriott brand in Chelsea, etc. And because having seen them, he was supportive of them. But
just so the board knows, those hotels are still being run by the same people that are running these. So the two hotels you saw were actually run and are going to be run by the same people that are going to be running this. So it's the name that's changed, and I understand. I spoke to Councilor King, and I understand his concern because he has to represent his constituents, and I respect that. But just so the board knows, the same people that run that are going to be running this. So just a name change, not the quality. But I'll have the people here to explain that to you.
okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. See you in November.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.